Hey, it's syndicated radio talk show host, author, singer Al Cole, welcoming you to another edition of People of Distinction, the talk that gives an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. I come from CBS Radio. My shows are nationally syndicated, and I've helped pave the way to treating women, guys too, with the dignity that they deserve. And I tell you, I treat people with dignity. They treat me with dignity. And we have dignified radio networks airing my show, the biggest airing CBS radio shows, and that's Apple's iTunes radio network under their professional news talk division, airing CBS shows, Fox News, NPR, BBC, C-SPAN as well, best talk in the country, around the world on Apple's iTunes network under their professional division. And I'll tell you, I want you to run to my website, peopleofdistinction.org. Check it out. Check out my national and international alliances. And also the service that I have for self-publishing companies on a paid basis. If you're self-published, hey, get in touch with your self-publishing company and see if they want to have you on People of Distinction with Al Cole for a special spotlight interview. And check out my People of Distinction Humanitarian Awards events. National events that I formulated back in 2013 in New York City, honoring humanitarian and creative unsung heroes. Since 2013, over 100 have been honored at my events in New York, Capitol Hill, with members of the U.S. Congress, U.S. Congressman Rob Whitman of Virginia reaching out and sponsoring my events over the Rayburn House office building. And if you need some toning up with your messaging, well, I've been doing that for years, coming from CBS Radio, major media consulting. Yeah, that's what I import. And if you need some of that to make a living out of your real passions, the products and services that you're putting out there, and you might not be entrepreneurial about that, well, I've helped hundreds of people to become entrepreneurial about that. And you can email me at alcoholic@gmail.com. You heard me right. That's ALCOLEHOLIC@gmail.com. And I really want to thank my CBS radio listeners for coming up with that handle, Alcoholic. Seems like from day one, my listeners have been saying, Al, we love what you're doing there, brother. In fact, we're hooked on it. We're alcoholics. And one last thing, hey, coming from CBS Radio, well, I'm also a New York Times best-selling author with Chicken Soup for the Soul. Chicken Soup for the Soul is distributed by CBS's Simon & Schuster, so we keep it in the family that way. Coming up, a real family member who's going to help you to understand your awakening. Linda Noble Topf is her name, and she's doing some marvelous things that she'll tell you about. And I'm going to tell you about her book called Wheelchair Wisdom, Awaken Your Spirit Through Adversity. Now, we know that sometimes adversity can actually get us on that positive bent of life. You know that, my listeners, People of Distinction listeners. You listen for a lot of the positive things that we talk about on our show. And Linda, she's right in that ilk. She's going to be talking positively about adversity. Yeah, now, on People of Distinction, we talk that way. In the everyday, average, real world, sometimes we think, I can't climb over adversity. How am I going to get over this stuff? It's a spiritual thing. When she's talking about awakening your spirit, she's not just talking about that energy aspect of yours that you can get just through exercising. Certainly that helps. But what about exercising not only your mind, but that beautiful spirit from where you came? Now, that spirit is endemic in you, whatever you want to call that spirit. We all know that there's some sort of purpose to our life, and many purposes in some cases. Wheelchair wisdom is a big, big part of this, and we're going to find out what she means by the wheelchair aspect to this, too. Wisdom can be gotten even through being disabled at any point in your life, however you want to define that. So wheelchair wisdom, I want you to order that at Amazon.com. And I also want you to go to this website and get involved in the wonderful, positive world of Linda Noble Topf. And Topf is T-O-P-F, for anybody that's wondering about that. LindaNobleTopf.com. And she was brought to me by Parchment Global Publishing one of the best in the publishing world. If you got a book you want to move, hey, Parchment Global Publishing, they're your movers. So run to parchmentglobalpublishing.com. Welcome, Linda, to People of Distinction with Al Cole. It's a pleasure to have you on today. How are you, Linda?
Thank you, Al. Thanks for inviting me.
Now, let's talk about it here. We'll talk about your book, Wheelchair Wisdom, Awaken Your Spirit Through Adversity. But even before that, you've told me some very, very interesting and exemplary things about your life. Your life in Philly. And that is the hubbub of liberty in this country. And I want my listeners to know about the great work that you have been doing and are doing in Philadelphia right now. Tell us about that.
Well, I'm a born and raised Philadelphian. And in 1982, Philadelphia had its 300th birthday party celebration. At that point, I was an art director and creative director, and I ended up being involved in working with the creative team as creative director of the Philadelphia's 300th birthday party. And within that, I was able to really have Philadelphia be known in the area of the world. I had designed an exhibit called, at that point, was inspirational, exceptional Americans who've achieved remarkable success. That was designed in 1980 for the National Liberty Museum, which is at 2nd and Chestnut Street in Philadelphia. And the purpose of that was the exhibit focuses on the relationship of people who are physically challenged, who are celebrities and people who are out there in the world making a difference, and they have disabilities. But the disability is not what drives them. Disability is what gives them the means to express themselves in their life. It focuses on the relationship between the inner spirit and the outside expression. For instance, Helen Keller, or Ray Charles, or Stevie Wonder, or Christopher Reeve. These people are exhibited on the exhibit. It was my idea to showcase people in the world who may have some physical challenges. I myself was diagnosed with MS in 1981, and I've been in a wheelchair myself since 1991. Wow. The first thing I did was write a book called You Are Not Your Illness, and Simon & Schuster published that in 1995. And the subhead to that was 7 Principles for Meeting the Challenge. I knew that I had MS. I had no idea what it was or how I can manage it. So I wrote a book for myself as well as the world. And at that point, publishing was very different than it was now. And I submitted 43. I had 43 rejections of this book, You Are Not Your Illness. And at one point, Simon & Schuster said, yes, I'll do this. Mm-hmm. So it was published in 1995, and it's still available.
Wow.
What I've learned through that and through expressing who I am is not my body. That is why You Are Not Your Illness became the word. You are not your emotions. You're not your feelings. You are not your body. You are not your thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And, we're going to take up on that. So much experience you've imparted there in just a few minutes about your mission in life, your direction in life, the passions that you have that so outstrip any physical challenges that you're undergoing with MS. And throughout those physical challenges, you have connected that body, mind, spirit synergy that we all need to connect so wholesomely in our lives. So take us back a little bit through your book, Wheelchair Wisdom, Awaken Your Spirit Through Adversity, and tell us how you dealt particularly with some of these challenges, maybe when you first learned about MS and your predicament with it, and then how you particularly got your spirit awakened through that adversity, and then how you're helping others to do the same again through the wisdom of your book, Wheelchair Wisdom. Tell us a little bit about that story, Linda.
Well, I was 28. I'm 70 now, I should say that. My husband always says I don't look 70, but I was 28 when I was diagnosed. And the first thing that happened to me, I was an art director. I was very alive and vibrant and walking around and meeting clients and doing a lot of running around as an art director does. And I got diagnosed right in the middle of Philadelphia's birthday party. And I just said, okay, I'm a creative person. How do I want to do this? How do I want to use this? This was after I was depressed and angry and going through all the human emotions that people do. And going through that, it's like, okay, but Linda, what can you do with this? I want to live. I'm a creative person. I'm not finished yet. I designed an organization called the MS Initiative. I would go up to Boston and I would lead seminars. I would go down to New York City and have seminars every month. Philadelphia. It went to 9 states. And in 1984, it was dissolved. We had things like a summer camp where people actually were around each other and having exhibits of how to eat and how to exercise and what is energy management, things that people never talked about in 1984. It was extraordinary. It was extraordinary. And out of that came You Are Not Your Illness, which were the messages and the teachings that came from the organization.
Energy management. Now, you've said a lot of wonderful things, and I don't want that one to go over the heads of my listeners. What do you mean by energy management, Linda?
Well, from my point of view, when one is still enough and quiet and blocks out all the noise and the garbage that's outside of us, and we're still enough to listen inwardly, which is something that most people have to learn, because our education system is what covers that up. When we can stop and listen and hear guidance and hear what next steps are, that is energy management. There are people trained to be able to show you how to be still. Yeah, meditation is one, and I meditate a couple hours a day to be quiet, because it's very easy to get absorbed, especially at this time of the year, and get sucked into the negativity that is not how I choose to live.
Mm-hmm.
It's always a choice.
Yes, it certainly is. And I like the way you put it with energy management. We'll get back into your book in a second or a second and a half once I give people the opportunity to order it. Wheelchair Wisdom, Awaken Your Spirit Through Adversity. Linda Noble Topf, our special guest on People of Distinction. She wrote the book, and it's available to you on Amazon. And Linda can tell us other ways that you can order the book. And you can go to her website, lindanobletopf.com. Topf is T-O-P-F. And you are listening to People of Distinction with Al Cole. And I'm going to make a reflection of my own here, too. Take off on what Linda was talking about with energy management. This goes out to you, my listening audience, my people, on People of Distinction. When was the last time you spent some time with yourself, people, and you didn't feel lonely about it? Whoa. Now, some of you are going to say, well, Al, I don't get a lot of time to spend with myself. Boy, the work, the family, the little league, this and that, and sometimes every once in a while, my wife and I get some time together, but she works second shift, I work first shift, and it's really, really tough. Hey, join the club. That doesn't make it tough or impossible in the end. You live with yourself. We're talking about consciousness right now. Awareness. Now, when you were a baby and you came out, you were just like everybody else. That's the one thing that we have in common, including a lot of other things too. That innocence of love, that baby looked around and said, whoa, I'm here. I made it. I'm actually alive. Life itself is your energy. It's not dependent on what's out there. It is dependent on what's in there. What was always in there. You have to rediscover yourself every once in a while, people, and the only way to do that is by living with yourself a little bit. Getting down to brass tacks and, every once in a while, just liking you as your best friend and saying, hey, tell me a little bit about yourself. That inner dialogue, you're talking to you. And as you do that, whoa, this energy is bubbling up and all of a sudden it's hitting the sky. And that is the spiritual aspect. And you're remembering from whence you came. That beautiful little baby or maybe that child rolling in the grass and enjoying life. And that's all you have to do. You're still the same person. You're still the same consciousness. You are the being inside of that body. And that body is not your commander. Your spirit is. Am I making some sense there, Linda?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So tell us more about that. From the energy point of view, from the wheelchair wisdom point of view, anything else you want to say about your book, you can say it right now.
Wheelchair wisdom. I should let you know that I was meditating one day. I don't tell a lot of people this, but on the radio. I was meditating one day, and I heard inwardly, swear to God, it's time to write wheelchair wisdom. As loud as I'm talking with you.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a whole direction. Okay, I don't even know what that is. But I've discovered that there's a life-affirming message that I've been writing about. It's teaching that people or circumstances, wheelchairs, you lost your money, your husband walked out on you, you have been single, why ever get married, etc., etc., etc. That is, circumstances do not cause us the conflict or the distress that we go through. Instead, it's our own thoughts, feelings, and attitudes about ourselves
mm-hmm.
and other people's events that produce the struggle. It's not stuff out there. It's the way we relate to it.
Absolutely.
I remember a teacher of mine said, the way you relate to the issue is the issue.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that is our judgment of ourselves that cause all of the problems and the how hard it is to forgive ourselves for judging ourselves. But again, remembering that each moment of our lives is conscious choice. Each moment is a choice. So I wrote Wheelchair Wisdom so that my readers can identify and discover what their true self is.
Mm-hmm.
Live that way, not in the false self-wise, the false self that we all live under judgments and anger and resistance and disappointment. But the true self is all of loving and open and appreciation and honoring and respecting and being still enough to recognize that.
Well, absolutely. And I know my listeners agree with that, and that's why they're going to order this book, Wheelchair Wisdom, Awaken Your Spirit Through Adversity. Linda Noble Topf wrote the book, and boy, I'll tell you, it's available to you on Amazon.com. LindaNobleTopf.com as well. Topf is T-O-P-F. You can order that book, and you can awaken yourself to the fascinating world of Linda as well. Have just a few minutes left in the show, Linda, and we're going to reawaken everything you've been talking about in possibility thinking. I like to end all of my shows in possibility thinking. It's a way to encapsulate both the information as well as the inspiration or spirit of whatever my guest was talking about in positive ways. In terms of what if? What if that became the modus operandi of our society? That became the normal and everyday way of conducting our lives. Whoa, what kind of world would that look like? That it doesn't look like now. And I'm going to take a cue from you. That relationship that we have with our true self. Not the self out there that is glimmering back to us through the eyes of others, who sometimes don't even understand who we are. But when that person takes that alone time, gets to understand that he or she is also a consciousness, an awareness, not just a body, but also a set of emotions, a set of beautiful, beautiful expressions in the spirit. Now, what kind of world is that going to look like? When we all get to the point that you're prescribing in your book, Wheelchair Wisdom. When we all get to that point of awakening our spirit, even through diversity. What kind of world is that going to look like, Linda, that it doesn't look like now? Tell us about that.
Well, I want to end. I have an exercise for your listeners to do, including you, Al. So close your eyes. If you're driving, don't close your eyes. And I want you to just listen and repeat inwardly. I love myself, even though I feel uptight. I love myself, even when I'm pretending to be something I'm not. I love myself, even if those times when I'm feeling anxious. I love myself even though I'm judging. I love myself when I am comparing myself. I love myself when I worry. And I love myself even when I'm being egotistical. And I love myself at this time of the year when people are joyful. And I may not be joyful, but I love myself anyway. And it's always a choice to go back to loving.
Well, it's a beautiful exercise there. And I am going to cap off the show with a takeoff on that exercise as well, that actually harkens back to the question that I asked you earlier about energy management. And this goes out to you, my listening audience. I love myself. And that's how I can energize myself, manage myself in that higher power spirit. Now get this. When we love ourselves, we're not afraid to do the nearly impossible every single day. You're looking at yourself in the mirror, and you're looking very deeply into your own eyes. And you're seeing beauty in those eyes. Even if you're a woman, they're not made up. Even if you're a guy, you just got up and, wow, kind of like bummed out, dragged out. But see, the eyes, that beautiful window to the soul, is looking back at you as you're looking into those eyes. And it's creating that beautiful energy in you, and you think, whoa, I can conquer the world right now. But it doesn't end there. Another thing that we don't usually do. Let's look at our hands. You know, you sit down in a comfortable position, and you bring your hands close to you, and you do the unimaginable. You kiss one of your hands. Whoa! And that hand is saying to you, because it is a part of you, and you're hearing it, thank you, gratitude. Thank you for finally recognizing how important I am to you. Whoa. And that hand is pouring energy into your body. And that beautiful energy is being managed upward to that spirit at that point. So much so that that hand touches your heart, the biggest electromagnetic area of your body. But boy, it doesn't stay within your body. It goes inward. And you see all of the beauty of your own physical body at that point. And even that white blood corpuscle that might have saved your life last night. You're seeing that too. And you're saying, I love my body. Because my body is an expression of other bodies out there too. You have something in common. We were all born the same with that physical body. And your body is so special, and it makes other bodies special. And you realize that, and it's a spiritual epiphany. I'm special, and so is everybody else, spiritually, because we were made that way. And I love myself now transitions to even the higher power and energy management of I love the selves of everybody else ever born. Whoa. Now that is the miracle of life. And that's what we have to look forward to, people. That is possibility thinking. And that's how we talk on People of Distinction with Al Cole. And we have Linda on board too with her book, Wheelchair Wisdom, Awaken Your Spirit Through Adversity. It's easier to talk that way as well. So I want you to order that book at Amazon.com, and I want you to go to her website, LindaNobleTopf.com. Thank you so much, Linda, for being my special guest on People of Distinction with Al Cole, and we wish you all the best with your book and your life directions. Thank you so much, Linda.
I loved it. Thank you so much, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
There you go. There you go.